Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new to this channel, my name is Prince. So welcome back, welcome to this channel. So if you're new to this channel, I kindly ask you to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because there are more interesting videos that I'm going to produce on this channel. So let's first begin with today's topic. So today we're going to do with go over two-dimensional arrays in C++. So in the last tutorial we looked at one-dimensional array. So this tutorial is just a continuation of our C++ series. So if you haven't watched the series from the beginning, you can just refer to this channel, the main page of the channel, and you check out that tutorial, or a card will simply pass onto the screen, and you can click that card, and you can have access to the whole series. So now let's get started with two-dimensional arrays. So I'll simply open up my Atom here. So I've simply just created a simple C++ program with declaring the namespace, the iOS string, and then the main function. Because we're going to be doing some input and output, that's why I needed the iOS string up there. Okay, so now that you have done that, let's go ahead and actually create a two-dimensional array. So what is a two-dimensional array? So a 2D array is just an array that contains another array inside of it. So the first array contains other arrays inside of it. So those other arrays within the main array will act like different columns, and each element within the nested array will act as a row. The nested arrays will act like a row, while the element within the nested array will act like a column. Okay, so let me just show you what I mean by that. So just create int, and then I'll call it let's call it D array. Okay, D, we can start with 2, so say D2ARR. You just you have to specify it using the square notation. So now this is a two-dimensional array, so we'll have two square notations. So now we can go ahead and actually put some elements within that array. So just first create this. So this will be the outer array, so just close that. So now within this array we'll have other arrays, so we can go ahead and actually add other arrays there, and then we can add other arrays there. So here you have to, if you're creating a multi-dimensional array, you have to specify the size of the array. Okay, so this will be a 4 by 4 array, so to have 4 columns. Now let's just keep it 4. Yeah, so have 4 columns and 4 rows. Okay, so the first 4 stands for the number of nested arrays, while the second 4 is for the number of elements that will be within the nested array. So for example, this will be just 1, this will be 2, 2, you can have 3, you can have 4, yeah. So so you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. This way you have 4, 5, and 6, and then down here I have 7, 8, and 9, and then down here we can have 1, 2, and 3 again, just like this. So now this is our multi-dimensional array, whereby the first array specifies the rows, while the second array specifies the nested arrays, and their individual elements will act as the columns. Okay, now let's go ahead and actually run a for loop so you can print elements out of this specific array. So we need to run an array that will loop through the main loop, right, like you did in the last tutorial. But now instead of the elements being just integers, they're actually now also arrays. Okay, so you also need to write another for loop that will loop also through those individual elements, which also happen to be arrays. So we can just go for we can just say int size, you can just call this I equals 0, while I is less than 4, and then we can do an I plus plus. So this will get us the rows, like you get us these individual elements, arrays, which are also arrays. So we need to create another for loop that will loop through those arrays as well. So you can say int j, we can initialize j as 0, while j is less than 4. We just want to do a j plus plus. We increment the value of j, so j plus plus, and then down here we just simply do a cout. So cout, and then we can do to this array, and then we can specify the first element. So the first part by using the box notation, the square bracket notation, will be the individual element. So it will be I, right, because I gets as the individual elements within the main loop, within the main array, which is the first array, the initial array, and inside of that we have the elements, right? So this I will get us these columns, rows rather, and then the j will get us the individual elements inside of a column, which act as the individual elements within the nested arrays, which act as the columns. Okay, so this will get the rows and the elements act as the columns. Okay, so this will the I will get us the row while the j will get us the column. So for example, the first iteration I will be 0, so we'll grab this element and then run a for loop to iterate through that element. So we'll go j, this will be 1 of 0, then 1, 2, 3. So I hope you understand. So I just run this code and I got an error. So expected a semicolon, so here I forgot a semicolon, so I'll just go ahead and actually add that there, and then we can go ahead and run our code. So this, I'll just bring my terminal this way, and you can see we have all that number printed out, but let me just make this more appealing. So just keep a space between each of these numbers, and then after each array we want also a space, so we can just end that line. So we want it on a new line rather. So whenever I run this code and I'll bring back my terminal this way, make this huge, you can see we have the elements right there. Okay, so I actually specified the elements to be 4, but I included only 3 elements. Okay, so that's my bad. So that's why you can see we have all the last elements being 0. So by this also shows that whenever I initialize an array and you need to assign values to it, then by default you have a value of 0. Okay, so that's all multi-dimensional array is, how we can look through a multi-dimensional array. We have seen how that can work. Let me go ahead and actually show you one more thing. So in the last tutorial we used this size of, and then we provided the array size, the array name, and then this you can call this array, and then divided by size of, and then we can divide it by the size of the data type to which the array belongs. So you can just copy this and repeat it on the second line, since we'll be doing this. Now there's one problem with this. Whenever I run this code, we'll simply get an error. I will not get the desired output, so I'll just compile and run that. So we can see what we got. We got this just gibberish. So the reason why this is happening is that whenever you have an array, right, you don't want to specify the size of all these arrays, right, because these arrays also have individual arrays within them. So what you want to specify is to specify the size of one of the nested arrays. So you can just specify any of the nested arrays. Let's go for 0. So let's do the same here and also go for 0. So I'll save this and we'll compile and run that again. And now I'll just bring my terminal this way, and you can see we got that desired output. Okay, you can see we got the desired output as before. So the only difference is that whenever you have a multi-dimensional array, do not specify the size of the whole outer array, but specify the size of the inner array. Okay, one of the inner arrays. Any of them will do, because they both have same sizes in this scenario. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually fix that and make this to be 4 elements. Okay, so this would be 9, and then we can go to 1, and then this could also go to 4, right? So I'll save this code and then we can compile and run that again, and now we should get back this output, right? So just make this huge. That is our multi-dimensional array in C++. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If it was, please consider subscribing to this channel for more content like this. So in the next tutorial, we'll start going into our functions in C++, or we'll take a look at pointers and references, and then we'll then jump into functions. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel and you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. It's one of the ways that you can support my channel. So thank you for watching this tutorial. See you in the next tutorial.